Hey guys, Sean here. Quick video today. So Putin has given the West an ultimatum, pay up in rubles or I'm shutting off your gas. This is no longer an empty threat because the man has now issued an official decree for this. He is serious about making Europe and other unfriendly countries pay in rubles and not euros or dollars. Now according to Putin, if these payments are not made, we will consider it a failure of the buyer to fulfill its obligations with all the ensuing consequences. I cannot overstate how groundbreaking this move is because if Putin gets what he wants, he will likely double down and even start pricing the rest of his commodities in rubles down the road. I'm talking about oil for rubles, wheat for rubles, and even gold for rubles, which will be the kicker. Now, right now, Germany and Italy are appearing unbothered, and I think this could be a serious mistake. If the West doesn't pay in rubles, we are talking about 40% of German gas imports gone in an instant, and mass gas rationings in countries like Austria, which imports up to 80% of their gas from Russia. According to Putin, what he's doing is fair game. After all, he has stated what is the point of selling gas for euros and dollars when those assets are frozen or can't be used for transactions. It doesn't make any sense to do so. But if payments are done in rubles, this changes the game forever. Now, the thing that's worrying is Putin has revealed his master plan of why he wants the transactions in rubles to be done. He called it part of a long-term plan to increase the share of foreign trade settlements in the national currency and currencies of those countries that are reliable partners, right? In other words, he sees this as a move to push for de-dollarization and make the ruble an international currency. So to accomplish this, Russia wants the West to follow a very specific set of instructions. They must open two bank accounts in Russian banks, one in euros, one in rubles. The euros would then be converted into rubles by the bank, then to pay for the gas. Now all this might seem like just smoke and mirrors, but the idea is pretty simple. Russia wants euros to be in Russian banks on Russian soil. This way they can use the euros for trade. So this gas for rubles is essentially a ploy or plot to get euros in Russia, sell it symbolically to buy rubles and then use rubles as official payments for the gas. This would also mean that gas is now officially priced in rubles and the West is recognizing it as such. This really makes it easy for Putin to sell the idea of a ruble being a commodity currency down the road. But if we dig deeper, we can see that Putin is also holding the unfriendly countries' euros and dollars hostage as well. Remember that the euros or dollars are held in accounts in the name of the gas buyer. It is not Gazprom's money. So if somehow the money was to be frozen and can't be exchanged to rubles to pay for the gas bills, it could still be considered a default and the gas pipelines could be shut off. Now, why I say this is a potential catastrophe is because no matter if the West complies or not, this will cause turmoil in the markets. We are talking about higher energy prices, serious gas rationing if you're in Europe, or higher inflation. So let's say the West complies and does this trade of euros for rubles for gas. Now, this effectively bypasses the sanctions, allowing Russia to access euros on home soil. And it allows Putin to really sell the idea to other countries like India and China that the ruble is a currency that you can now use to buy Russian resources, right? And if this works and Russia decides to price the rest of their commodities, especially food, in rubles, this could just accelerate more de-dollarization. And we all know what that means, higher inflation down the road. I think that this is the more likely outcome because on the surface, it looks harmless as Europe is still, in a sense, using euros for gas. But let's consider the alternative. What if Europe decides to fully resist? And this, I believe, is even more disastrous. Now, if Europe doesn't play ball, I think we can expect Putin to really cut off or at least restrict the gas imports to Europe. This will immediately mean higher energy prices and people having to spend more money on this necessity or essentially freeze during winter. Now, you can just take a look at the incredible reliance on gas from Russia every country in Europe has. I really think Putin will go through with this because he portrays himself to be a strong man, and one thing he probably hates is being seen as weak. Remember guys, he made an official decree and announced this in a speech. These aren't rumors or hearsay, it's written in black and white. But what really frightens me is the domino effect that will happen once the gas supply is cut. Right now, Germany is paying record levels of gas prices of above US $9 per gallon. Just imagine what the price will be once supply is cut. Sure, countries like Germany are making plans to get gas from Qatar, but it's more expensive LNG option and it will take a long time to reach the country. They still have to build the LNG terminals and that's how far they are behind. No gas means no electricity, or at least much more expensive utilities. Industries could grind to a halt, and there could be mass unemployment, and prices on almost everything will surely rise. This will have a domino effect on European countries such as Greece, Germany, Poland, and Italy, which are heavily tied to Russian gas. This could lead to a recession that might affect the whole world. Now, Russia will also suffer a lot of financial damage, as even though they can easily reroute and sell their gas to the east, there's only so much flow that they can divert away. We are talking about a loss of revenue when the Russian economy is still reeling, even though the ruble has recovered almost back to pre-war levels. But what I truly fear is escalation. What if Europe sees this as an attack on their energy security and decides to retaliate? Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems that the West has already thrown tons of sanctions on Russia, and how much more damage can they do? Even Russia's gold has already been sanctioned. There are increasingly fewer moves when it comes down this road. They could threaten China, but that is just a self-defeating exercise that could backfire just as easily. If they actually do put boots on the ground and send in the military, this could escalate into a world war. So if you analyze this carefully, Russia could get its way and continue chipping away more at the dollar while making the ruble more attractive for bilateral trade. Countries will be more keen to explore using the ruble or diversifying away from dollars into assets like gold. But the alternative is just as bad for Europe, right? The gas stops flowing, Europe enters a crisis, and might even slip into a recession. I personally hate this kind of lose-lose situation, but things have escalated to this point that we ourselves as people and investors, we need to look out for ourselves and prepare. I think saving money now has never been more important. I know inflation is high, but the first step is to accumulate more cash. If you're looking to buy that new fancy watch or fast car, you need to think twice. Very soon, putting food on the table is going to be more challenging by itself. We are about to get really slapped in the face with higher prices, and we can't afford to be spending our money like drunken sailors. If your cupboards and fridge are empty, it's time to stock up on food while prices are still manageable today. Double your grocery shopping cart and really start hunting down those discounts. And if you can, think about accumulating assets that can really resist inflation and protect your wealth. Gold and silver are things that I'm still accumulating today. I have a feeling that Russia might be planning something big with it down the road, but I just can't put my finger on it yet, right? They have one of the world's biggest holdings of gold, and they're now buying gold in rubles at a fixed price. Will they go back to a gold standard, or they use their gold to show up the ruble to really challenge the dollar? We won't know for sure, but I want to position myself well if that comes to pass. I'm seeing a lot of activity in the bullion dealers locally here in Singapore, and many of them are experiencing record sales, especially over the last 2 months. One of Singapore's biggest bullion dealer has reported a revenue jump of over 500% in just a matter of days. The rush to gold and physical assets is real, and it's not just Russians scrambling for precious metals, right? No one will know when gold or silver will explode in price, but things are really accelerating and the cards are falling on the table. Right now, I think Putin is striking back with his own sanctions in full force, and I have no doubt that besides all this, he probably still has an ace in a hole that we just don't know about. Now, there's a very good possibility that this ultimatum will work and Russia will get their rubles for gas. And while this might seem like only a symbolic and political win with Putin looking like a strong winner, it could give him more leeway to start pricing more stuff in rubles. Now, the big issue is that going down this route will only destroy any trust left in Russia honoring their contracts, and in the future, they will have to look eastwards for any future trade. But if Europe doesn't agree and the pipelines are shut off, a recession is really on the cards that could spread across the globe. Right now, inflation is elevated and supply chains are having problems, and a gas shutoff will just cause both to worsen. This is something we need to keep an eye on because we're long due for a recession since 2008, and this could be the domino that starts the collapse. So let me know what you think. Will Putin's ultimatum work, or will the West resist and strike back? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more gold and silver and finance videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon.